Hello everybody, so today we are visiting fellow Volvo enthusiast Will, who has two really rare retro Volvos for us. So we're going to start in this video with the 760. Now what makes this one rare is it's a turbo and it's got a manual gearbox, but better still, the car is actually for sale. So I want you guys to put a thumbs up or a thumbs down, should I add it to my collection? So let's find out if this is the ultimate rare luxury Volvo. My name's Chris and welcome to Retro Ratchet. The engine's knackered, so you shouldn't buy it. You should probably wait until there's a space at Retro Ratchet. Test around here because there is a goat standing in the middle of the road. Imagine that. It works. I mean, does anything not work in this car? No, it just all works.
Not to my knowledge.
No.
Do you remember the advert they done for the 400? And it was like the guy was in the car and he took a side impact and the tape flew out for the centre console and he grabbed it and he put it in the machine. Metal. But you'll never lose it in a car park.
Aye.
You'll never lose it in a car park, man. Because it was like designed by Minecraft.
Jensen would like it. Let's start with, how long have you had the car then?
So bought the car May last year, so that's May 2023. Bought it for a friend who had basically done a lot of work to bring it back up onto the road again.
What made you choose a 760 then? Any specific reasons? Did maybe parents have one in the past or?
So I did. I grew up mainly with Volvos as a kid. The first car that I saw was a 480, which my dad bought. And then when my wee sister came along, Mum and Dad bought a 740. And I think it's more a nostalgic thing. I think you always go back to something that was like a kind of happy memory.
Yeah. And it's met up to those.
Absolutely.
Those memories.
Yeah, smiles per gallon all the way, man.
And on to mile per gallon, is it thirsty?
It can be.
Not that it matters really.
Aye, it can be. Stop-start traffic, if you're running the aircon system, it can be. On motorways, I find it's pretty good.
Sorry.
You're probably the high 30s on the
Oh
motorway.
wow, that's like a diesel, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, my ideas are thirstier down into single figures, so yeah, 20s and 30s I think is pretty good going anyway for one of these.
Depends how heavy your foot is as well.
Well, it's a turbo, so you need to make the most of that performance, don't you? So backstory in this one, you were explaining in the car, had some interest in ownership history, and there was a little bit of a clue here on the bonnet that probably no one will have noticed.
So, it was registered in 1990, May 1990, as a diplomatic car. And there's a wee flag hole right there. So it was the Philippines consulate in Edinburgh, where it was registered for the first 3 years.
Someone important floating about in the back.
Absolutely, I know. So, not me, obviously.
I bet the car's probably got some tales to tell then from
absolutely, the conversations in the back seat or whatever.
And it's not an armoured one? No armoured glass?
No, it's maybe weighs in like an armoured car, but absolutely not. But first 3 years of its life, so from May 1990 to, I think it was about May 1993, it covered just over 60,000 miles.
Right.
So it did. So obviously
majority,
delegates forward and back. After that, it was traded into Murray Volvo in Edinburgh, where the owner of Murray Volvo at the time had then bought the car. I believe it was in his possession for about 10 years.
Right,
That's the story. Where he used it as his daily. And then after that it gets a bit sketchy. I think there's 6 owners all in. I've got different MOTs from different places around about Scotland in there as well, but
and it's not rusted staying up in Scotland. I mean, that's a rarity.
I know, surprise.
So that's good, yeah. So quite an interesting past on this one. I mean, it is in absolute mint condition. We'll take a closer look round shortly. So yeah, a little bit more about the car then. I think it's 101,000 miles on the
Yep.
clock. I mean, that's hardly run in for a Volvo,
Absolutely,
isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
these things do 200,000 and 300,000 miles. Not quite as low mileage as my 460, mind. But right, so would this be considered probably the rarest 760? So, I mean, from the research I've done, there was 3 different engine options. There was the 2.8 V6 that came from the DeLorean, or did it come from something else, that PRV engine? I just remember it for the DeLorean, that's all. I love movie cars, in case you hadn't noticed. 2.4 turbo diesel. I couldn't imagine a turbo diesel 760 would be that popular, and obviously the 2.3 turbo that we see in front of us today. 2 gearbox options, automatic and manual. And the manual box in these, it's a 4-speed with overdrive. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, what do you think? It must be a pretty rare combination, I would reckon.
From what I've been told by people who are in the know, the colour option, metallic, glassy or blue, is definitely a rarity.
Anything else about the car? Anything else interesting about it?
Well, little things I didn't realise that differed from like a bog standard 740 to the 760s. The fact that there's like carpet up the door pillars and the roof's also carpeted as well.
Yeah, I've seen that in the pictures.
It's really nice,
Yeah.
so it is. I find myself maybe sitting in traffic just kind of rubbing it. It's like soothing.
Maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's that diplomatic thing. They had some extra trim put in there, so it was
Possibly.
I don't know, or if
It's
it was
possibly.
factory.
It's one of those ones that's quite, for me, I didn't actually realise what I had until
Yeah.
I was told when I bought the car. And when I read through the description, when I was buying the car, it only just lightly touched on its heritage sort of thing. But whoever has owned it previously has been a member of the Volvo Owners Club, so it has, whoever's owned it, it's always been cared for.
Yeah.
It was just round about, I think it was 2010, as I said, it came off the road. What happened after that, I don't know, if it was maybe an elderly owner or something like that. But
And then recommissioned, what was it, about 10 years after?
So I think the recommissioning maybe started about 2020. So it was,
okay.
yeah.
That's a fair old time. Well, that's maybe what's preserved, I suppose, because by the looks of it, there is very, very little rust on the car, which is good for a 1990. Right, okay, let's take a wee walk around and have a look at the exterior of the Volvo. So, I mean, they're totally recognisable as a Volvo, this boxy styling. It's a big, robust car. I mean, even in 2024, I would consider this probably a big car. They sold in numbers on safety, and there's loads of safety features in this one. I think these were even fitted with impact bars, weren't they, in the doors?
So that impact bars, yeah.
That must be one of the first cars, I guess, to have extra collision safety for the side, and the bumpers. I think they've got something that's like maybe some impact.
Yep, they were designed in such a way that if you had a low impact crash, then what would happen is they would endure the impact and then spring back out again. And the plastic was designed in such a way that it would almost just be like non-existent.
Have you tried this?
Not in the car park yet.
The car is for sale, so
Donuts in Tesco car park.
But yeah, I guess when you're driving an old car, you are conscious that they don't have the same kind of safety standards as a modern one. But when you look at this, the bumper and stuff, the bumper's pretty high up here. Pillars are pretty big and chunky, so I guess I'm trying to sell this here. You don't need to be nervous driving something like this. So wheels, and this one has got standard 15-inch Volvo alloys. I think these look like original ones, don't they?
Yeah,
they are dwarfed a little bit in that body, aren't they?
I think I would agree. I think at the time, for around about 1990, they were...
It was standard. 15 was probably standard
15.
Yeah.
And probably one of the biggest alloy wheels you could probably get at the time,
guess,
considering now that you're running 18s, 19s, even 20s,
And pretty wide profile tyres on them as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, that'll probably help the ride comfort. When we drove up here, it was super comfy on these country roads.
What's a tyre will to absorb all those lovely potholes?
Chrome, that's another thing I can see. Loads and loads of chrome. So yeah, you've got these chrome strips along the tops of the doors and around the windows. I mean, there's meters of this stuff, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Right the way around, and on the gutters there on the roof. Wee extra bits in there, so there is quite a lot of detail. I think it probably is because it's a 760. I mean, I don't know if 740s had that level of detail. Right, what's the view like from the rear? Well, to be fair, I actually prefer this to the Estates. It does look like a big, classy, luxury car. The boot is massive on this thing. I mean, look at the size of this. So it goes right the way back to there. One interesting thing is just the angle of that back window. It is quite steep, and the glass itself is set in a little bit from those pillars. I guess it probably has a lot of safety features built in, but it's totally robust. I mean, even getting into the boot here, it's huge. Definitely got a body in there. Lots of lettering on the back in the era when all the model was described here. So 760 turbo intercooler. I was always fascinated why they made a thing about that, like intercooler. There was some, I think, lambda on the side, some of them, when they were catalysed.
Mm-hmm. They made a big thing in the early 90s about that, aye.
So they had catalysts, and I remember some cars had ABS, 16 valve, double overhead cam, whereas now everyone tends to be blank. But yeah, so you've got a lot of lettering there. And a little single exhaust. It does look a similar shape to the one on the SD1, totally standard, but even the sportier models or the luxury models did only have one exhaust back then in these types of cars. There we go. Every 80s luxury saloon car has to have an electric aerial.
Did that go back down
And
again?
it's spot on, so that works. And then moving around to the front, this very distinctive Volvo front end, boxy, square, practical. So you've got the big chrome grille there in the middle, massive headlights, wash wipe fitted. Does it work?
Yes.
It does work. So I mean, does anything not work in this car? No, it just all works.
Not to my knowledge.
No, so it's all spot on, right? So that's good. And then yeah, these big, thick, energy absorbing bumpers and a massive bonnet. I mean, have you seen the size of the bonnet on this as well? You know, steering wheel's away back there. So for a car of this era, you know, that is pretty impressive. Right, so I've been dying to see under the bonnet of this thing. So it's 2.38 valve, and I think we worked out it was going to be about 165.
165, I reckon, yeah.
Because this one's fitted with a cat, so it's lost 5 brake horsepower to save the planet. I'd have probably rather had the extra 5 brake horsepower, to be honest. I think it's a B23 Garrett turbo. I don't exactly know which model of turbo. Obviously fuel injected, Bosch
kit, yeah.
Fuel injection. Looking under here, it's a very, very tidy engine bay. There's lots of really nice details if you look closely. We've got turbo written there on the airbox. The engine itself sits quite far back, so the cam cover is sitting quite there. So you've got all of this in front of you. Tons and tons of space to work. Not as many pipes and wires as I would have expected actually for a very early 90s turbocharged car, but it's in spectacular condition round these strut tops and things. I mean, there's just no corrosion. One thing I do notice when you look down, the size of these chassis legs, they are absolutely massive. So, you know, you can see why they do have the reputation for being very, very safe in an accident. So these struts, are they standard?
On the 760 they were. I believe the bonnet also as well is aluminium. So it's a bit lighter.
It's massive, like, because I wouldn't fancy that falling on my head.
But the gas struts were standard on the 760. And as I say, we've got it in service mode just now, which is easy for getting in. It's one of the surprising things about how big the engine bay area is. Even though there's pipes and everything running everywhere, it's actually really easy to work on.
Right.
For anyone who's getting into Volvos, probably the 200 series and the 700 series are the best ones to go.
I guess even some like a timing belt change, you know, it's right there.
It's right there.
The bolts for the cover are there. The access is pretty easy.
It's a good car to cut your teeth on if you're looking to get into the Volvos.
And there's even a wee light there for if you're working at night. I mean, they must have copied that off the SD1.
Certainly not a BL part though.
Well, it's still working.
It's still working.
And the plastic hasn't gone rusty, so it's definitely not over. But yeah, I mean, it'd be a real pleasure, I think, working on this. And looking at that, you've even got Volvo stamped on the front wings, so it's obviously, well, it would appear to be the original front wings on the car, you know.
It's so easy. I mean, for most, when they designed the 700, it was about low maintenance costs. So if you were taking the car back to the dealership and you were needing things changed, everything had to be accessible. And that was one of the major design briefs at the time when they were bringing a car onto the market, was that you kept low maintenance costs, and that way the cars would run for years, because people would just keep them because it's not costing them any money.
It's opposite now, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Opposite action now. So what's broken on it? You know, has it been as reliable as Volvos usually are, or has it been a money pit? I
think surprisingly for a 34-year-old car, I've been relatively lucky, because a lot of the work was done before I bought the car by a friend. The viscous fan was removed at the front here. The housing's still there for it, but and a new fan was put in with an electro-thermostat. Much better. I do like the sound of the viscous fan, but it's no big deal. I mean, you can put it on. I've got it in the boot. It's a nice sound. It's quite distinctive. You hear the car before you see it. It sounds like a lorry.
The A4's like that, yeah.
Beautiful. I did have to replace the water pump. The gasket went on that,
Right.
and that was just a month after I bought the car. Other than that, everything else has been absolutely fine in the engine bay. So last month I had to put a new fuel pump relay in it. It's actually quite a common thing to go on these. And what will happen is the car will cut out
Right.
for no reason.
In a really awkward place.
In a really awkward place. But I mean, why not? You know, it's got to make it more interesting.
So it's been a pretty decent ownership experience then.
Absolutely.
You know, it hasn't been a money pit.
No, it's not. I mean, for me, like I've only done, since I bought the car, I think I've only done about 5,000 miles in it. I'd like to have...
Still a decent amount in 1 year.
I think
for
so.
an old car, yeah.
Again, the other great thing is you can use it as a daily.
Yeah.
So it's not overly thirsty. It's not going to not keep up with modern traffic. It's got a turbo. If you want to have fun and give it the beans, it will go. It will go like the stink. But as a appreciating classic, and I think as an all-rounder daily, I don't think you can go wrong with these. I really don't.
Yeah. Sounds good. Right, so let's hear what it sounds like. Sweet as a nut. Thumbs up for me for that one. So Volvos, they're renowned for the comfiest seats in the market, and this one is no exception. It's like sitting in a big armchair. I mean, the seats are massive. And you've got this switch bank on the side, these big robust switches here, and a big stop button. I'll no touch that because I don't actually know what that does. It'll probably not allow me to adjust it. But yeah, you've got the different height adjustment. You've got the forward and back and the backrest. And they all still work, so that's pretty impressive there. All right, let's take a wee look at this dashboard. Let's get the ignition on. Tons of warning lights down here. So this one, lambda. So does that do a check of the catalyst, I guess?
A check of the catalyst, yep.
And yeah, we have the hallmark flashing seatbelt warning. Everybody remembers from Volvos. We've got an ABS light and then all the standard ones in there. And the all-important boost gauge. How cool is that? I really like that. The gauges themselves are pretty bland. Is that maybe a bit unfair?
Simple.
Practical. They are simple and functional. Sorry, I'll correct that. 101,000 miles and 140 mile an hour speed. Red line's at 6,000. So yeah, and there is a lot of controls inside this car. So what we've got here, is this climate control?
Climate control,
so
yeah.
Climate control for a 1990 car, I mean, that is impressive. Obviously aircon, recirculate.
Yep.
I guess that just, auto's just for, you would just put it on that and then that would be your climate control.
Yep.
Yeah, I've just felt it kick in there. I'm very impressed by that. And then we have a very rare upgrade Volvo sound system here, I believe, with this equaliser in it. I mean, that was very 80s and early 90s, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Graphic equalisers in cars.
Absolutely.
And it works.
It works, all works.
It works.
I've been told, as I say, there's a really, really rare option for this. I was actually quite surprised when I picked it up myself because I've never seen this unit before. But the tape player works. As you can see, there's a Lighthouse families.
I was just about to say, what have we got in there? Smell like Spice Girls or something?
I got a bag of tapes off an old family member. There was some absolute bangers in there and some stuff you maybe don't want to listen to.
Well, we'll have a wee look through that collection later. So it's a cassette. I guess it's too early for a CD changer.
Yeah.
It's maybe something in the 900s. But yeah, well, maybe need to listen to that. I'll be interested to see that wee graphic equaliser working. Obviously moving down here, you've got that gearbox with that overdrive switch. We'll try that out later. And some heated seat switches here.
Yep. All working.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
So that's the
three different lines
three
on that
different
there.
lines on that one, yeah.
We've got another few switches hidden under here. We've got our heated rear window and heated mirrors. Hazards.
Yep.
Sunroof.
Sunroof, yeah. Tilt and slide.
Just out of view there. And then round this side, we have some unusual ones. That one, is that aerial, electric aerial?
So you've got the electric aerial,
antenna.
and then you've got your cock, and then your front and rear fogs.
Right there. And two little warning lights on there, and then obviously just the exterior lights, and that looks like a wee dimmer there.
Yep.
So it does seem to be packed full. Of extras. Obviously electric windows all round.
Yep.
That's your door release there. It's just like a little lever you pull back, so that's quite unusual. So very, very robust door trims on these. I mean, they have lasted the test of time and they are well carpeted as well. And the space in the rear is fantastic. It is massive. Very, very comfortable as well. You've got headrests in the back. Headroom isn't as much as I would have expected, actually. So in the middle we'll have this big, massive armrest, padded as well. So yeah, you could definitely do a good few miles in the back of this without getting uncomfortable. Electric windows, and there's even a wee warning light down there to tell you if you are not wearing your seatbelt. And you've got some pockets behind the seats. It's very, very well trimmed in here. I mean, yeah, looking at this headline, I don't ever think I've seen anything as plush as this. I wonder if that's an optional extra. So put in the comments if that's an option or if that was just something fitted specifically to this car. I mean, it's trimmed all the way down the B pillar, just the same, and around those C pillars as well, and on the back parcel shelf. Very, very plush. But yeah, really, really impressed with this. Right, let's take the 760 for a drive, see how quick it is, and see if I want to buy it. Hope the missus isn't watching this one. So we're on quite a windy country road at the moment. We'll see how it performs. It doesn't actually wallow as much as I expected. Yeah, I coped with that alright. You coped with that alright?
Absolutely. Even if we were down to the door handles, it would have been fine. Nice.
Sitting, as long as you keep it between 2,000 and 3,000 revs, you know, lag actually isn't too bad there. Mm-hmm. You've got a couple of seconds and then boosts kicking in. So on a road like this, yeah, it's pretty decent. Right, performance. We're at this part of the road, so what do we think? Is it going to be quick? Well, we're not going to be doing any sideways exits out of the junction. You change the head gasket? No, there'll be anything like that. But yeah, I'm curious to see how quick it is. But yeah, rear wheel drive, so yeah, just take it canny out of there. And there we're at 60. So obviously I was short shifting there a wee bit, but very, very linear, you know, when that turbo kicks in. It's a very confident car to drive, I think. You know, the grip is pretty decent in it. It's very predictable. Mm-hmm. So another interesting quirk of a 760 is the turning circle. I believe they are like a London taxi. So let's find out. So let's stick that on lock here. I mean, that's incredible. A massive car like that, we're on a wee tight country road and you can turn it around quickly like that. So that is really, really weird. I wasn't expecting that. Right, so let's have a wee look, see how responsive it is. There's 20 mph floored. It goes actually pretty well. I'm going to retract my earlier statement about lag. Full throttle there, I mean, you might not have picked up the boost gauge, but it was straight on full boost, and again, between gears there, second to third, it was straight back on boost, so yeah. I'm guessing it probably is quite a small turbo that's fitted to this one. Then we'll do another wee pull there. There's 50, fourth gear, and then floored, that's on boost. Yeah, maybe about 1 second there. This overdrive thing takes a little bit of getting used to. See a wee green light there with a 5 in it, so that's in fifth. And then clutch in, press the button, back into fourth. So that's so bizarre. It's counterintuitive for what you've been used to driving for 20 odd years, and then you do that.
I still go for fifth.
Right, so let's start with the steering. Steering's very, very light. It's not 100% accurate. There is a tiny little bit of play, I guess, in these, so not as precise as you would experience in a new car, but you know, it drives nice and straight. It certainly absorbs all the potholes and undulations in the roads, which are good. I think it's probably a combination of those flat tyres as well, that probably helps that. But I think with a car like this, you know, you want that super smooth, relaxing drive. You know, you don't want to be feeling all the imperfections in the road. We'll not be testing how well it handles on the limits today. It's just not that kind of car. But yeah, nice smooth ride. Brakes, we've got ABS as standard fit. It is a big old car. I mean, what's the curb weight? It must be knocking on, what, 1,500, 1,600 maybe?
I think they're about,
Yeah.
they're about.
And it's coping with my test track really well, because I haven't hit my head off the roof, so the dampers are definitely doing their job. I think you said there was maybe struts or springs replaced?
Yep, so the struts at the front, they've been replaced, and the springs as well, and the same with the rear. So then some new bushings on too.
Yeah, so that's probably why
tighter
it's,
feel.
Yeah, so that's probably why it's handling pretty well then.
It's always that temptation to go for fifth though, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just, I don't know if I'll pick that up on another camera, the constant wanting to go from fourth to
That's
fifth.
it.
So this one's overdrive, so it's just got the wee button in here, and this is the first car I've actually driven with an overdrive like this, so it has taken a little bit of getting used to. Yeah, there's been a few awkward moments where I went back into third. Right, so what's the gears like? Well, apart from having a very unusual overdrive function, actually very precise. It's quite a long throw, quite a long gear stick on this one, as is typical of any Volvo of this era. But yeah, I mean, you look down and it just 1, 2, 3, 4. You think, why is that a 4-speed? Right, cool. So we've reached the end of the drive in the 760. Well, what can I say? I'm totally bowled over by it. Absolutely love it. I did have high expectations with this car, and I've wanted to drive one for a very, very long time, either a 740 turbo or a 760 turbo. I never thought I'd find a 760 turbo with a manual gearbox. I thought I'd be lumbered with something with maybe an auto box, which would kill the performance and driving experience a wee bit. But yeah, this was amazing. So, right, where do we start? Looks and appearance, that traditional boxy styling. That's a 10 out of 10 for me. I just love it. That's totally my taste in cars. And it really is just like a 460, but a 460 on steroids. A little bit squarer, less rounded, certainly than that is. This one's obviously a spec'd up model. You see it's got the extra chrome in it. You've got the 15-inch alloy wheels. I just think it works in terms of an executive family car. Really, really nice. And the interior in this one is packed full of goodies. You've got electric seats, full grey leather, very, very, very comfortable. I mean, I did expect it would be a comfy car. Heated seats. We've also got that graphic equaliser down there on the radio cassette. That's really weird. Air conditioning as well. Climate control. I mean, it's literally got everything you need. So yeah, interior wise, it's trimmed very nicely. It's very, very plush. It's in really, really good condition. The engine's knackered, so you shouldn't buy it. You should probably wait until there's a space at Retro Ratchet. I'll repair whatever's wrong with the engine. Also on its last legs, knocking quite a bit. So don't buy it. Joking aside, joking aside, right, let's talk about the engine. It's very strange because, yeah, it's such a big, comfy, luxury car, and then, you have that kick in the back you get off the turbo. I did initially think it was a little bit laggy, but then, when you do use full throttle, use the revs a little bit more, it's actually not that laggy. There's maybe a second until that was coming on song. So that was really good. I think there's more than enough power and torque to pull along a car like this. Within reason. It's obviously not going to be a sports car, but I think it's a very good match. And the gearbox in this one, I really enjoyed. There doesn't seem to be much wear in it. Linkage is nice and tight, so it all works together very, very nicely. And once you get used to that overdrive, it'll be comfy for cruising on motorways and doing long journeys. So the car's up for sale. It's 25 grand or something. It's out of everyone's budget. Have I discouraged everyone enough? But jokes aside, it's 4.5, isn't it? It's
4.5.
It's advertised for at the moment. And if I didn't have a 460 or an A4, if somebody wants to come and buy them, then I'll happily take it into the Retro Ratchet fleet and we could do a bit of content on it. Hopefully a little bit more than the 460 because nothing's went wrong with that and there's been no content to date.
Yet.
But yeah, all in all, 10 out of 10 for these. Thumbs up for me. Thanks very much for giving us a chance to drive. I mean, it's been a real extended drive. I've probably driven this more than I have other ones because I liked it so much. And I want to try and get as much time as possible. But yeah, no, really appreciate it. It's been a great experience. And if I don't happen to buy it and somebody else gets in there first, I think it'll make a great buy for somebody. It does not look like it needs a lot of work. Condition is excellent. It's certainly been well cared for, I think, in its time. So put in the comments, have you owned a Volvo 760? Should I buy it? Should I not buy it? And I will see you all for the next review.